Jarvis! Welcome to Sudeep Audio's channel.
Thank you so much, Aditya. After so
And
long.
after so long, in the sense, my wife was really upset with me that, I didn't chase her as much I've tried to chase you. I think since 2013, it's about
Yeah, it's
7 years
been a while.
plus
True.
that we've been wanting you to be a part of the channel. And now you'll be surprised that a lot of the viewers of Sudeep Audio's conversations have said, "Sir, please bring Jarvis, please bring Jarvis." And to those who don't believe, including you, please go and check out the comments, and you'll realize that what I'm saying is true.
That
That
feels
people
great.
are so happy to see an artist like you, a keyboard player, a piano player like you. That it's really nice to see your growth. We met in 2008, 9 at our
Awa.
studio.
Yes.
You were working with Tavi,
Yes.
who told me that this is a promising guy, and he's proved everyone right.
Tabi the genius.
So we go a long way back that way, and thank you for Jarvis for buying stuff from Sudeep Audio time and again.
Always, always.
Thanks. So Jarvis, I mean, all are curious to know what got you into music. How did you become a keyboard player? Anything that will inspire viewers and even those students of music, to go on and not give up. So if you could just share with us your story.
So basically, I was born into a musical family.
Okay.
Like mom used to sing in the choir, and dad was a violinist, guitar player, and not professionally, but you know how this, musical families in
Right.
Catholics. So yeah, it was a musical family I was born into, and at a very young age, my dad, I remember first I tried to learn violin, but that went nowhere. It was absolutely terrible. So my dad introduced me to piano. I think I was around 4 years old then.
Oh,
And my brother and sister were already violinists. My brother used to, later on started playing for the Bombay Chamber Orchestra, sister too. It was called Bombay Chamber Orchestra back then,
okay.
where they used to do several concerts at NCPA and stuff. So dad put me onto the piano. And from there, it was not. I wouldn't exactly say I took a liking to it, and it was rough at first. But with good training, I had very good teachers.
Okay.
My first teacher was Reggie DeCosta, and I studied with her for 2 or 3 years, and then I went on to another lady called Shamis Berganza. She was a very good teacher. So my main training was in Western classical. I had absolutely no. I was introduced to like Sting, Stevie Wonder, all that kind of music at a young age. But yeah, I never got into playing it. All our playing was, I appeared for Trinity and everything. It was all Western classical mainly that I used to play and do.
So did you take any Trinity exams? And if
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I
what
did. I
grade?
did I finished up to eighth grade.
Oh wow.
But then what I realized it for me is that we spend so much time with Trinity doing like three pieces in the whole year. So those whole year you're just practicing those three pieces. For me, I felt that I could do much more. If I was not doing these exams, I could discover much more in terms of musically. So I did up to eighth grade, but then I left it after that.
Okay. But
So
then
yeah.
parallelly, school, college was happening. What
Yeah,
was
yeah, absolutely. School, because for my parents, there's nothing like give up in your 10th standard if you want to do music. They said you finish your education first, you at least become a graduate. Then we'll decide after that, what your
right?
plans are going to be.
Right. So
So,
by
yeah.
then, were you doing any public performances, Jarvis? In the sense when I mean, except at the church, anything else
Yeah.
that?
So, besides, because I was brought up on gospel music. So, I love gospel. Besides playing in the choir and stuff, my brother used to play in the lobby. They had a quartet at where was it? At Oberoi's. So
Okay.
in the lobby, there was a string quartet that used to play. So it was three string players and one piano player. So one day the piano player couldn't make it, and that was basically my first appearance when it came to playing live
Oh, nice. How
in
old
a
were you
hotel
that time?
lobby. I must have been, I think, 14 or 15 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Were you
that was my first
nervous?
introduction. Absolutely, because I never knew what was going to happen. My brother just gave me a thick folder of music. It was basically like all classical kind of stuff they used to play, but he said that this is it now, take it and go and play. Luckily, I was a strong music reader, so I pulled that off. It was a
Nice.
great gig. I mean, I remember also I must have got around $300 for the evening,
Oh wow. Did you
but
spend it on yourself or no?
I don't remember what I did.
Okay. So,
But then, yeah.
since you spoke of reading music, do you think it is a very essential thing to do for students or those who are wanting to get into formal
Mm,
training or playing?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's very important. I mean, there'll be a lot of people who tell you that, so and this and that has made it without ever reading music and not being able to. But those people are supremely gifted. So, I mean, who will be able to pull it off? Yeah, you will be able to. Also, I mean, if you try hard enough, but music training is definitely important to me. You have got to have some basic knowledge,
Right.
of at least being able to read music, to at least write a bit. So even when it comes to orchestration and stuff, you'll be able to tell an orchestrator exactly how you want certain things to be played out. It's very important for sure, for
Okay.
me, of course, because
Right.
I'm not one of those extremely gifted people. But yeah, I mean, it's good to study at least something.
True. So, when you said that you finished your graduation, till then, were you even considering that, I'll get into this uh, permanently, in the sense, as a full time, not like just a hobby or a Sunday activity?
Not really. I
So
was
when
still
did that
very
happen?
unsure. I mean, so after I finished my 10th standard, I think there was this band, and the lead singer had come to my house. They were looking for a violin player.
Okay.
So they had come to my place to basically talk to my brother.
So your
So
brother's
actually,
name, we don't know.
my brother's name is Ruskin Menezes,
Okay.
11th standard.
Okay.
So yeah, so they had come to talk to my brother, but my brother absolutely didn't want to get into because he was heavily into classical music, Western classical. So he didn't want to get into any sort of band or anything. So he said, by chance, if you all are looking for a keyboard player, my brother's available. So then they took me into their, I mean, they took me under their wing to kind of, said, do you want to play for a band? And I was like, why not? Of course. So that's how I started actually playing with a live band. The band was called Liquid Fruit, I remember.
Okay. And what kind
And
of
it
music?
pop, Eagles,
Covers kind
Brian
of a
Adams,
thing?
all
Ah,
covers, all covers, all
all
covers,
covers.
all covers.
And you
Great
used
singer
to
called Cassie.
rehearse?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Please carry on. Great singer.
Cassie was his name. He was a great singer.
Okay.
Loy on bass, Joe D'Souza on guitars, and Venci Alvarez on drums. Yeah, I remember
Okay.
all of.
Loy meaning,
Loy Hendricks, who plays now
okay.
with Zarir for One Empire, that band, One
Okay.
Empire. Yeah.
Okay. So, did you all do rehearsals and how did you practice
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of music?
The rehearsals were absolutely insane because at that time I was also doing a contract in Taj where when I used to play keyboards over there.
Every evening? Or,
Oh yeah, yeah. That contract was every evening.
and how
So
old were
that's in
you
the
again at that time?
11th standard. So I think
Oh,
I
so
was
you started
around.
playing professionally in the sense
Yeah. By then I
after
had
after
started by
college
11th
and
standard.
oh, after
Yeah,
school
yeah, yeah.
and college and
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So you
Absolutely.
should go to Taj all the way and
This was the Taj in Bandra, so it
oh,
was
so
close to where I stay.
okay, okay,
So it's like very close to where I stay. So that time I needed my keyboard also for that gig. So when rehearsals used to happen, the rehearsals used to be in Naigaon, which is quite far from Bandra. So I had to take my keyboard and the keyboard stand and travel by the local train. And the time that I used to travel, the crowd was so insane. I mean, it was madness. It was madness. Holding on to that for a dear life. It was madness, but good fun. I mean, there's absolutely no regrets. I had a great time.
nice. So at Taj, when you play, was this in the lobby at the of the hotel?
No, we used to play in the coffee shop.
Okay, as a full
Yes,
band.
yeah, as a full band. It was. I mean, Colin DeCruz used to. It was his band. He was heading
Oh, okay,
the whole thing. Yeah. So it was like we used to play jazz standards and stuff, like light, soft listening music.
right. So during your growing up in college days and during these days of yours, we didn't have the internet which was this powerful or this kind of streaming
Hmm.
services and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how did you listen to music, and what kind of music did you kind of listen to?
So, I mean, I think up to seventh or eighth standard, I only listened to classical music. We used to have the vinyl records and we had the player. And we had an old Kenwood deck with cassettes that dad used to pick up and bring. So, I mean, that was my main listening. And then also we also FM was big during that time. So, I mean, a lot of the English music used to come, not like nowadays how it is. But
The first wave of FM, it was
yeah,
far better.
yeah. So all the pop used to happen over there, and then yeah, later on, I think in the sixth standard or seventh standard, my uncle gave me a Chick Corea cassette of the Chick Corea Electric Band, and that's where my whole view on music changed. I was absolutely blown away that something like this also existed. It was absolutely mind blowing. So that's how I started listening to other forms of music. And then there was always, because my dad was also into like Stevie Wonder and Sting and stuff. So that's how, I was always listening to that kind of music.
And Hindi film music by any chance? Can't imagine
As
you saying
I,
that.
I will tell you how I got into, actually, how I got into Indian film music. It's like, my wife had said, let's go for this movie. The movie's name is Fashion. I said, no, are you crazy? I'm not coming for a Hindi movie. She said, nothing doing. Yeah, come on. You've always, like, I listen to you when you say, like, you have to go for this movie or that movie. Now you try out one of this. I said, are you nuts? Like, I don't watch Bollywood at home. I'm going to come to a theater and watch it and pay for it, actually. So she was like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. So finally, I agreed. We went for the movie, and then I was absolutely, I mean, taken up with the score, with the songs. They were very modern. So my wife was, I said, this is damn good. Yeah, who has done this? She's saying Salim Suleiman. I said, who are these people? I don't know. Salim Suleiman. She's saying, how can you not know they are like big? I said, because I don't listen to much Indian film music. So and that's how I got actually introduced to the Bollywood side of things. It's from
Right,
there
right,
that it started. Yeah.
right. So we'll come back to that
Yeah.
shortly. But if we just rewind back and talk about anything that happened between your Taj days and your marriage, any incidents
The
that improved you as a musician, or how did you practice? How many hours a day, kind of a thing?
I mean,
Anything that will
I'm
help the viewers in.
even till now. I mean, two things that don't go with me very well are practice and diets. I mean, it's something that I always. But yeah, I mean, yeah, practice is really important for me. As to like, and also what happens is that after I got introduced to like the jazz side of things and all, I used to listen to a lot of records of musicians that I liked and try to incorporate that into what I was playing every day. And till now people ask me how to get into that kind of thing. I mean, how to do what I do, reharmonization and stuff, is that you listen to keep on listening, because listening is one of the most important things. It's not even about, yeah, practice and all is important, but once you listen and you pick up these few elements that you like and try to introduce it into what you do, that's where a lot of stuff will change for you.
So, what kind of Western classical music or composers you grew up listening to or got influenced
Some
by?
of my biggest influences were, of course, Bach, Beethoven. There was Brahms, Debussy, Chopin. These were some of my favorites. Of
Okay.
course, Mozart. So, in terms of the classical side of things, that's
So,
what
do you play
really
their
inspired
their
me.
pieces also at home for practice and?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I used to play a lot of Mozart and Beethoven, especially. I used to play a lot of it. Yeah.
Okay, so at parties also, do you get kind of pulled by the call and say, "Hey, come on, play something for us"?
Yeah. Unfortunately, if there's a piano, or a keyboard, that does happen. So,
Right. So
but
you never
also I
learned
didn't.
playing. Sorry, you never learned playing on the keyboard. You
No, no,
always
no.
learned on the
I'm
piano.
always a piano. My
Because we have a
dad
lot
had.
of these classes in small town India where they teach you on a I mean a keyboard, not on a
Hmm.
piano, because of lack
Yeah.
of space or lack of whatever you call it, students,
Budget
or
also. Yeah.
budget, money, etc. So many of them pass the Trinity exams learning on a normal basic keyboard,
Hmm.
but then when they move to a piano, it's a completely different animal, as you call it. But so how does one kind of transport from a keyboard to a piano?
I unfortunately have found that very difficult to do because I started learning on a piano. I'm so used to the heavy touch, the hammer weighted action of a piano, that even on a shore like till today I need a hammer weighted keyboard. I can't exactly, switch to a very light because it's difficult for me to play a semi weighted action.
So you must be cursing us
So
for sending us you the Arturia or the Roland.
no, actually the Roland A49, which I took from you, I'm still using it now. It's a great keyboard.
Right.
But
But
yeah,
that
it
feel,
no, the field, especially if you're doing piano and stuff. I've got a P120 Yamaha digital piano. It's been with me for super long right now. And the first person to have worked this deal out with me from Fataros is the great Floyd Fernandez.
yes, of
So,
course. And he remembers you very fondly whenever we meet. So,
so he's the guy who took me to Fataros and worked out the deal. Until now, still have that. So when I want to record piano and stuff, I hook up this keyboard because it's easier for me to play piano parts.
okay. So for those learning the keyboard, is it easy to move to a piano, or a weighted keyboard?
No, I mean, most people who have spoken to me about that situation have been quite unsuccessful because it starts getting tiring. Once you're so used to a light action for very long, moving to a piano becomes extremely difficult.
So it's better
It
to
can be
choose
done,
your instrument beforehand.
I would say, but unfortunately, these days, I mean, 70-80% of the people who really want to learn seriously are those people who don't have that kind of a budget to, purchase a piano or a hammer weighted clavinovas and also stuff are very expensive. So it becomes difficult for sure.
So Jarvis, when you were playing in Taj Bandra, Taj Lands End, right?
Hmm.
So did people come to you and say that, sir, why don't you play this, or why don't you play this song?
No, luckily, it Taj always gets quite an elite crowd. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that because because you're elite, you can't be crass. But to my luck, we didn't get any such. I think also because seeing the band play like these kind of jazz standards, people, I mean, automatically know that it would be funny to request something like that. Yeah, but we used to get the standard like, can you? The Titanic song was one very famous one. Then those Brian Adams songs, everything I do it for you. All those standards we used to get, the pop standards. Yeah, 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 yeah. And we used to be prepared for those. So
Right. So this was the evening activity, but then when did that final decision of, boss, this is what I want to do for a living permanently happen? What made you decide?
so I'll tell you. So I mean, the terrorist attacks happened in Mumbai in I think 2008, 8 or 9, and everything got canned. There was no hotel contracts available anywhere. I mean, for hotel musicians, it was really difficult to get a job. So after that, I started working in a call center because I have a degree in travel and tourism. So I started working for Virgin Atlantic, the back office job at in Ghatkopar. So it was a company called WNS. So every day my line was, "Good morning, Virgin Atlantic. How can I help you today?" That was my line for a while. So after around 11 months of having to wear formal clothes with your shirt tucked in and having to shave every day, it became extremely difficult for me to do that. From being a musician for so long, and playing various types of gigs. I mean, as a musician to get used to that kind of office lifestyle, it became very difficult. So that's when I told my wife, I said that to be wife, I said, I can't do this anymore. This is just not what I'm cut out for. So she said, you leave, no problem. Again. I left. I left that. I still couldn't. I was getting like small gigs. I also special mention to Joe Alvarez, Chef Ali's dad, who absolutely gave me whatever he could. I mean, very thankful to him. I mean, included me in whatever gigs he could. So, I mean, there were these small gigs happening, but still financially it was tough. And then we got married. When I got married, I was I was quite broke at that time. So because also, I mean, we had spent for most of the marriage out of our own savings and everything, and that's when, just as I got married, after a few months, I got a call from Sonu Nigam's team. So his management said that he's doing some Filmfare awards. So would you be interested in playing? Because there was Carl Peters on bass, there was Sanjay Devesha on guitars, and there was his regular drummer Roger Menezes on drums. So I said, why not? I needed the work, so I took up that gig. And I remember I finished that gig, and then his manager called me saying, "Sonu wants to meet you. Uh, are you interested in joining the band?" So yeah, so I mean that's where it all started, the actual introduction to Bollywood and stuff. And then I did that for a while, but I was absolutely for me, I to get used to also Bollywood life is difficult when you're coming from a thing of doing pop, gospel shows, all this kind of thing to do. That is, it's a whole different ball game. So after that, after I finished with Sono, I think I did around 7 or 8 months, and then I got a call from Darshan Doshi saying that we are Ranjit Bhai has taken over MTV Unplugged season 1. He's saying, would you like to be a part of the band? He's saying, I've got your number from this guitar player called Sean Pinto. Would you like to, just check it out and see if you like the material? And that's when I did MTV Unplugged. After MTV Unplugged got over, I got a call from Salim Merchant. So
Whose movie
that's
you had just seen?
yeah, correct. No, that was way before.
Okay, okay.
So then I got a call from Salim, and his manager called me first and saying that Salim will talk to you. So he's looking for a keyboard player because his keyboard player at that time, Gulraj Singh, he was also playing with Shankar Ehsan Loy, so it was difficult for him to manage both projects. So the manager said Salim will call you in a bit and talk to you, and that's all he said. And then Salim called me. He said, "Do you want to join my setup?" So like after that Sonu Nigam whole experience, I was like, no, no more Bollywood for me. He's saying, no, we are a very different type of thing. It's very chilled out. You come and check it out, and if you don't like it, you can always leave. And I did my first show with them in South Africa, and now it's been 8 years with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
SS. Yeah.
In fact, though we have a separate company with them,
Hmm.
but I call them Bhai Log.
Why?
But honestly, they're one of the finest people I know in the music
Absolutely.
business,
Absolutely.
and they're very genuine, very open, and very helpful.
Very true.
So are, of course, many other musicians we all know of, but for them, I can definitely vouch. They're one of the
Yeah,
best people
absolutely.
around.
That's why I've survived for 8 years over there.
Right? Not 8 months.
Yeah, exactly.